So today I'm going to be talking about the Rome Total War conversion mod for Total War Rome 2. Now, this is an interesting mod. So let's go to the Grand Campaign here and show off what this mod does exactly. So it doesn't change anything for Carthage here. But as you can see, what this mod does is that it, first of all, it changes the soundtrack to the soundtrack of the original Rome Total War. And it also alters the campaign map by making the factions seem more like Rome vanilla factions. So it alters start positions. It alters the faction symbols. So, for example, you have Thrace and Dacia instead of the Getae and the Odrysian kingdom, right? Carthage's symbol has been changed. The successor kingdoms get their own symbols. Seleucid Empire, Ptolemaic Egypt, and Macedon. Macedon, of course, gets its historically inaccurate lambda symbol. And then, of course, you have some outliers like Bactria. Because there's no Bactria in Rome 1, there's no symbol to replace. So that one is a little bit out of place. It might have felt a little bit better if they removed Bactria as being playable. Because there was no... this symbol, it kind of sticks out as not being a Rome 1 symbol, right? And of course, Rome becomes split into the three families, the Scipii, the Brutii, and the Julii. So the Scipii are especially weak in this one, in this mod, because there's no second settlement for them, which is unfortunate. So the Brutii are definitely stronger, which is good because the Brutii are probably my favorite of the Roman families. Due to their start position. And then for Egypt, it still is Ptolemaic Egypt. It's not like it's become Bronze Age Egypt in this mod. And then Macedon, of course, it's getting a more historically accurate faction symbol in Rome Total War Remastered, but here it has the regular faction symbol it gets in Rome Total War, the Lambda. And of course, you have the Eastern factions, Parthia, Armenia, Pontus, which all have their Rome 1 faction symbols. So, of course, the Gaelic tribes, Britannic tribes, Germanic tribes, they were specific tribes, right, in Rome 2, and there were more factions, right? But in this mod, it's just Gaul, Britannia, and Germania, and for Spain as well in Iberia. So, of course, you have like Iberian tribes, Celtic tribes, Germanic tribes, different tribal factions, right, in Rome 2. But in this mod, it makes it like Rome 1. So you have the sort of a historical amalgam factions, Britannia, Germania. And then, of course, you have the Greek city-states, right? So similar to the way Rome 1 does it, and then Scythia as opposed to the various nomadic tribes. So let me fire up a campaign here and give you a little bit more information about this mod, because of course I think you get the gist of it. It's a fairly popular mod on the Steam Workshop. And then I will also, of course, since this will be a sort of review type video, overview and review, I will be giving my thoughts on the mod near the end of the video here. But as I said before, it doesn't change loading screens. It doesn't change the start screen. It mostly tries to alter the start positions, and the soundtrack and things that kind of evoke that nostalgia for Rome 1 here. So, of course, let's talk a little bit about this. So, start positions have changed. Now, this is an issue a little bit of an issue for me with this mod because, so for example, we're in the east here, and Pontus in Rome 1 controlled this region here, Pontus. This was all one region, so not 3 different cities, right? This was called Pontus, and then this was Cappadocia, right? So actually in Rome 2, because in Rome 2 there are more settlements here, Pontus actually starts out with something like 5 settlements, I think. And Armenia, for example, in Rome 1 starts out with Colchis, which is up here, and Armenia, which was about this big in Rome 1. And that was 2 settlements. So Armenia in this mod starts out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settlements. So, of course, things are a little bit different. Things are not exactly the same as Rome 1, and this is due to wanting to balance the game a little bit more. So, for example, Pontus gets Phasis, which is basically Colchis, right? And then Armenia gets Kartli, here Mtskheta, instead of getting Colchis. So, in Rome 1, this all was just the province of Colchis, and then there was Atropatene over here, right? So, and I believe that was Fraspa, right? So there's no Fraspa in the Rome 2 map. There's Gazaka here. So, and of course, Armenia didn't start out with Fraspa in Rome 1. But in this mod, Armenia gets Gazaka, which is part of the province of Media Magna. And it also gets Mtskheta. And Pontus gets Phasis. So, you know, these start positions are made less historically accurate and more... they're made this way for balance purposes, right? So one of the goals of this mod is to evoke that Rome 1 feeling of it's a bunch of major factions versus a bunch of rebels, and then you fight the other major factions, right? So the rebels didn't stand a chance against the major factions. So like right here, in Rome 2, you have the faction Ardan, right? And that represents a Caucasian Albania. Ardan is the old Persian for that province. So in this mod, it's no longer a major faction. It is now the Ardan rebels. So it's just a rebel faction. So you can go and take it at your own leisure. And it's not really a big deal here. These guys are not gonna, you know, send armies after you or anything. This is a rebel faction. And that's true across the whole map, pretty much. You have... The major factions at the start of the campaign are much larger than they were historically. Usually, like Pontus controls quite a bit more than it historically did at the start of the campaign here in 272 BC. And Armenia, of course, controls Mtskheta and Gazaka, which it did not at this time. So basically, and also Parthia is a major offender here. Parthia gets a whole bunch of provinces like Zadrakarta, Hekatompilos, Raga, and Ekbatana. And of course that simulates Parthia having a bunch of territory to the south. And then in Rome 1, well, it had territory to the north of the Caspian Sea as well. But that's not the case in this mod for Rome 2. And let me start up a Roman campaign as well, actually. Actually, I kind of want to see the Eastern Infantry here. I want to show off the Eastern Infantry here. So, another thing about this mod is that some factions don't start off with any armies. So I just find that a little bit strange. So I'm going to raise some Royal Cataphracts here. And of course, the unit cards are pretty much in the Rome 2 style. So I find it interesting that this mod changes the faction icons and things like that, but they don't change the unit cards. I just find that slightly odd. It's slightly odd to me that they would do that. But I guess I'll raise some other forces here. And the other thing is that the faction colors have been changed a little bit as well. So you'll see Macedon is like orange and black, just like it is in Rome 1. So I'm going to send my general here, my king. Oh, and the other thing is that the characters have also not been changed from Rome 2 to Rome 1. So, for example, in Rome 1, Armenia's king at the start of the campaign is Artaxias, and in Rome 2 it's Orontes III. And of course Rome 2 is more historically accurate because the king was Orontes III, and Artaxias lived about 100 years later, or he was king about 90 years later. So, yeah, those things have been kept the way they are in Rome 2, which, you know, I feel is good. So I can recruit 4 there, and then in Gazaka I'll recruit a couple of hillmen. And of course the technology is the same as Rome 2. Rome 1 didn't have technology trees that worked like this, so this is how it is. You know, I'll leave 1 hillman. Okay, 2 hillmen. Why not? Oh, I forgot about the edict. So, of course, Rome 2 has edicts as well, which you don't have in Rome 1. So, this leads me to talking about my verdict here about the mod. So, you know, the mod is, it's well-intentioned, and it does... Oh, they want me? Oh, they want to become a satrapy? That's interesting. No, I'm going to take him. So what do I want to say here? Right, so, you know, this mod has some interesting ideas, and I think it does a fairly good job at accomplishing what it wants to do, right? So what it wants to do is evoke that feeling of nostalgia from Rome 1. So it wants you to feel that nostalgia, absolutely. And, you know, the other thing is that the rosters have been changed a little bit. So, for example, at this point already with the heavy horse studs, Armenia would get access to javelin cavalry, right? They would have a javelin cavalry in addition to the horse archers, right? In Rome 2. But in Rome 1, the Armenian unit roster is more limited, right? So that's why at the start here, Armenia just has access to the Eastern horse archers and the hillmen, right? So of course, as we go up the building tree here, once I get the royal stables, Armenia gets access to cataphract archers, right? But then if I do the other cavalry stables, I don't get access to any units at all. And of course, that's because this has been like redone for a Rome 1 balance, right? With the Rome 1 rosters in mind. So the rosters have been altered to be more similar to their Rome 1 counterparts. And it's actually kind of cool. It's not exactly the same due to the building structure, the structure trees, building trees working totally differently in Rome 2. But you know, it's an interesting way. It's an interesting way to recreate that sort of diversity that Rome 1 did have. So let's keep moving toward Gabala here. I'll just keep moving and then declare war. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make an infantry camp because I want to make some Eastern infantry. Yeah, I want to get some Eastern infantry, so I'm going to bring my king back there. Add some more horse archers. And some hillmen. So I want the coin maker. Do I want the coin maker? Yeah, I'll go for coin maker. And I'll raise some garrison troops here in Tushpa. So of course, it's kind of a surreal mod because you're playing Rome 2. Like all of these mechanics, these are not changeable things. You can't change Rome 2 to play exactly like Rome 1. Very different feeling games, right? And of course, because the map is not editable, I feel like if the map was changeable, yeah, I feel like if the map was changeable, then this mod would have felt more like a Rome 1 total conversion. But at the moment, it doesn't really feel like that to me. It feels like Rome 2 with a couple of aesthetic changes. And the start position changes. I'm going to tell you how I feel about that in just a moment. But, okay, I'll tell you about that right now. I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of this mod personally. I understand why a lot of people might like it, might be drawn to it. Because they have that feeling of nostalgia for Rome 1 and maybe they were disappointed with Rome 2 or they hate Rome 2. And they love to see the Rome 1 elements and the soundtrack and the faction icons be, and the gameplay mechanics with the amalgam factions as opposed to the tribal factions. However, I feel like it doesn't really work. And hear me out. Hear me out. So, unfortunately, I'm excited to see this Eastern Infantry here because when I tested this mod, I tested it as the Julii, actually. So I haven't seen the Eastern Infantry yet. But what did I want to do here? I wanted to do something. Should I go for the Satrap Large City? Sure, let's do that. So I don't feel like it quite works. And hear me out here. So I feel like the soundtrack change is very nice. And I say nice because I like Rome 2's soundtrack. However, I feel like the Rome 2 soundtrack is more appropriate for one of those old style sort of 60s epic movies like Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire with Alec Guinness. I feel like the Rome 2 soundtrack is more appropriate for that sort of thing than for a Total War video game. It's a little bit too ambient for me, right? The Rome 2 soundtrack. But I don't think it's bad by any means. I don't think so at all. I know, shots fired, right? Okay, and then I'll get archers once I upgrade the infantry tents. Yeah, so because of Rome 2's building system being totally different, this is how they've chosen to change the sort of barrack structure here. And techs as well. The tech tree as well. But where was I? So I don't feel like this mod works for a couple of reasons. For me personally, it doesn't work. Now, a lot of people know that I'm not a huge fan of Rome 1 vanilla. I've never finished a Rome 1 vanilla campaign. And that's because I've always felt like Rome 1 is a little bit immersion breaking in terms of its start positions and the way they depict the various factions, right? So, for example, the graphical style of Rome 1 vanilla, of the units and of some of the faction icons as well, I don't feel is very conducive to an immersive experience, right? Just because, like seeing Macedon with the Spartan Lambda icon, it's just very, very odd. It's just very odd, and it's immersion breaking. So, when I was a kid and I first got Rome 1, I played it, and then the first couple campaigns I played as the Julii, I remember, because, you know, you have that association, Romans, red, right? So I played as the Julii, and then after, you know, fighting a whole bunch of Gauls the whole time, I played as the Scipii, and then as the Brutii, and of course I enjoyed the Brutii more. So let's show off the Eastern Infantry here. So also, look, the Rome 1 icons don't really blend in with the Rome 2 ones. There's just a sort of jarring type thing. I would have preferred if they changed all of these since they changed these factions into rebels. I would have preferred they keep that rebel icon there. So let's check out our army here. So the colors here have been changed. So of course Armenia gets this green color here as opposed to the Rome 2 colors, which are more historically not historically accurate, but less gamey. Rome 2's colors are less saturated, less gamey. Now these colors are not very saturated, but they look so gamey. Like if you, I don't know, if you showed an Armenian this infantry unit and said these are supposed to be a bunch of Armenian guys, they would be like, what are you talking about? This is absolutely ridiculous. Like seeing an Armenian infantry unit dressed up like this, right? With the sort of, they sort of look like the desert infantry from Rome 1, right? And in Rome 1, Armenia's infantry gets the turban, right? But of course, Armenia does not have a desert climate, and people don't wear those types of things. So it's just strange. I also would have liked this mod a little bit more if they went all out and they like made the Armenian Eastern Infantry look like the Rome 1 Eastern Infantry. These guys do not look like the Rome 1 Armenian Eastern Infantry. They look like the Desert Infantry. They look like mercenary Desert Infantry from Rome 1. And these cataphracts also don't look like Rome 1 cataphracts, and they definitely, I feel like they could have made them look like Rome 1 cataphracts with a more simple design, giving them all similar sort of barding and armor there. I think they could have done that. And, you know, I feel like they could have gone, like for the infantry here, they've gone for the sort of clone style, right? Which I think is cool. So you'll notice all the shields and things look exactly the same. The hillmen have a little bit of shield variety, but the people look the same. I think that would have been cool for the cavalry as well. Now, the cavalry do look mostly the same, but there is some variation. And let's take a quick look at the Eastern Horse Archers. So, of course, they don't look quite like the Horse Archers from Rome 1 with the sort of similar turban as the that's basically what Arakosians look like in the Achaemenid Persian depictions. If you look up Arakosian, you'll see the picture I think of. So in Rome 1, all of the Eastern infantry essentially look like Arakosians from the Achaemenid reliefs and depictions. So these guys don't quite look like the Rome 1 ones. I think the mod would have been a little bit better if they went all out in that regard. And yeah, what else do I want to say? Yeah, so verdict on this mod. This is a cool mod. You know, it does evoke that feeling of nostalgia just seeing the Rome 1 icons. It does evoke that nostalgia. Let's take a look at their Eastern Infantry. So, again, they have a little bit of variety again, so it's sort of not exactly, it doesn't exactly evoke that Rome 1 feel. Let me pull my infantry back. I don't want to lose guys for no reason. I want to see how overpowered my horse archers are. Whoops, I forgot to activate skirmish mode because I felt like I was playing Rome 1 with skirmish mode automatically activated, right? But yeah, my horse archers totally routed these guys. And the battle mechanics, I have to say, they do feel more like Rome 1. Seeing Eastern Infantry rout does bring a nostalgic tear to my eye, right? So where this mod doesn't work, it adds the aspects of Rome 1 that I didn't like. And it removes the aspects of Rome 2 that I did like. Right? So that's why, personally, this mod doesn't work for me. Because, like, having those real minor factions, I thought was such a great thing that was added in Rome 2, right? Oh, I want to end the battle. Quit battle. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically my summary of my thoughts on this mod as a whole. It adds the parts of Rome Total War I don't like the ridiculous ahistorical starting positions. And it removes aspects of Rome 2 that I like the real minor factions that put up a fight. Right? So, and not having the generic rebel provinces. So for me, personally, I just don't feel like this mod works. It doesn't work for me, personally. So I just personally don't like it. I just personally don't like it. And of course it does edit all of those traits and things. Yeah, so that's, I suppose, pretty much all I have to say about this mod. It's a very cool mod, I have to say. So let's go back to the main menu. It's a very cool mod, I have to say. I think it's a great idea because, you know, there are so many people who play this mod and love this mod, and it certainly got a lot of attention when it was first released. But, like, for me, Rome 1 Vanilla has so many problems. And like I said, when I was a kid and I was playing it, I realized that this was not a very historically accurate game and it had so many problems, especially the Bronze Age Egyptians. And I immediately went looking for mods like Rome Total Realism and Europa Barbarorum because they molded that game, Rome Total War, into an epic historical title, right? Like, you could even classify vanilla Rome Total War under, like, I don't know, a fantasy, almost a half fantasy type game due to the what did I want to say? Due to the ridiculous start positions and how it's just the design of the campaign, right? With the amalgam factions like Gaul and things like that. So mods like Europa Barbarorum and Roma Surrectum eventually really brought out the full potential of Rome Total War. And the reason I love Rome Total War so much, and I like it more than Rome 2, besides nostalgia, is that I prefer its mechanics. I prefer the the campaign mechanics of Rome 1. I don't dislike Rome 2, but I'm not a huge fan of the changes to the mechanics. Again, I would have preferred if Rome 2 kept some of the mechanics from Shogun 2. Again, Shogun 2, my favorite vanilla Total War of all time. But this is a good mod. I don't want to say it's a bad mod. The modders, I don't like saying any mod is bad. This mod is a good mod. The modders accomplished what they set out to do. They have sort of brought that vanilla Rome 1 Total War experience into Rome 2. But for me personally, they brought everything I didn't like about Rome 2, about Rome 1, all of the historical stuff, the amalgam factions, the strange start positions, things like that. The rebels, they brought back the rebels for Rome 2. So the greatest thing about Rome 2, where every province has an actual faction instead of being just generic rebels, they took that out of Rome 2. Like Rome 2's greatest achievement for me personally. And I just feel that this mod doesn't quite work. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this mod. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can find a link to this mod in the description. It is very surreal hearing the Rome 1 music in Rome 2. And of course, I like it. I love Rome 1 soundtrack better than Rome 2's, though I do like Rome 2's. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this mod. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy hearing about the historical Total War games and their mods. So I'll see you guys in the next one.